In the next set of demos, we'll overview some of the security features in WebEx Control Hub. And that's basically built-in security features for messaging. We'll touch a little bit on meetings as well, but also external agents that you can use to look into all the various security policies that you might want to enforce. And that is one of the key tenets to all of this discussion. Control Hub, we have always been positioning as a single pane of management for various administrative and provisioning functions, as well as reporting and analytics and so forth, but also as a policy enforcement point for your security features, right? Now, let me start directly by jumping into our Control Hub instance here and showing some of that. So if I go, for example, and look at the security settings, you can, for example, enforce the fact that mobile apps can only launch WebEx Teams when you have a lock screen, right? So that is one of these policies. The idle timeout, in terms of how much idle time you allow before you either timeout Control Hub or the client itself. Now, one of the ones I want to demo for you next is this blocking external communication and whitelisting. You see, we've always had this notion that you can have this complete blockage of external communication. What is new here is this whitelisting feature, and that is a recent development. So here is I'm trying to enable it. I have to acknowledge that I'm blocking external communication. And I can even limit that further by limiting my users to join specific group spaces that are owned by my organization. But here I'm whitelisting these domains. So in this example, Cisco.com and ucdemolab.com are allowed domains that I can join in any discussion, whereas anything else is not. And I can start adding in stuff like net or something, right? And check if it's available, and add it as one of these domains that we're whitelisting. Now, what is the user impact to all of this? And I think that's the one I really wanted to show you here. So I'll show you, for example, this space. I have people, then I want to add an external person who's not in those two domains, Cisco.com or ucdemolab.com. So let me use abhall at tm.com and see if I can add this person. Yeah, why? You can't add them. So let's see. Let's even try further and see what it will say. This is a valid user in a different domain. And when I try to add them, I get this error. It will not be added. You can only contact people from certain companies. Basically, that's the user impact of all of this, right? So you can see that's a very powerful way of allowing and disallowing your users to communicate with certain people in their environment. So that's blocking external communication with whitelisting. Other policy features you can see here, for example, I can allow name labels and so forth. The next one I want to show you down here is retention. So you can decide on how long you want your content to be retained for your users, either indefinitely or for whatever number of months you want it to be, or you can even specify up to 10 years, 120 months, that would be about 10 years, right? You can also manage apps, the bots and integrations. Let me show you that next, because that's relatively recent. So for bots, the thing is, administrators didn't have any visibility to what's going on in the deployment until we have had this feature. So you see here, I can allow or deny global access to my user set to all the bots. So this is actually, if I allow all, basically everybody will have free rein into getting whatever bots they wanted. Or if I disallow this, right? And then I can be able to define a whitelist of bots that are allowed. So for example, if I want to add to Spanish, TME at webex.bot, that would be another one of these bots that is allowed in the domain. Same thing actually went for integrations, and we've had this for a while, but the idea is that you can also have global access on or off and allow certain integrations that you want into the environment or deny them on an individual basis. You can even figure out how many users are using a particular integration before allowing or disallowing. The next thing I want to show you, also policy related, is around message settings. And here you see these restrictions on what your users can upload and download in terms of the content that they share. And this is per client. So it could be that you restrict it to iOS and Android apps, for example, or the web app or Mac and Windows apps. And similarly for upload, right? If you want to restrict your users from using animated GIFs, right? Or to be allowed to preview shared links or not allow that. So that's yet another one of these policies. The next one is relatively recent, so I want to show you that next is this anti-malware scanning. What this is that we have ClamAV from Cisco Talos integrated in the native storage of WebEx Teams content, and that allows for scanning files as they are uploaded into your spaces. And if there is malware, basically it would prevent users from downloading. So let me show you this example here for, let's say, for the last month, I had 3 files that were uploaded to spaces in this organization out of a total of 43 files that were scanned, and these had threats in them. Let me show you how does that manifest itself in terms of the user experience. So this is an example of a space where users were sharing these files, right? It's very difficult putting them into spaces, by the way. But so, for example, Cleo here had shared a file back in April, tried to download it, and you'd get this message, right? Similarly, another user down here tried to share another file. Oh, yeah, malware detected, and it could not be downloaded. So that's basically a native malware inspection of these files and the ability to get a report on what activity was there. Now, the next sort of demos that I wanted to show you were on Cloudlock. And Cloudlock basically is Cisco's DLP CASB platform. Here is a dashboard, just some normal platform. I'll talk more about it later on how you get licensed to it and so forth. But here I just wanted to show you the mechanics of it. And the mechanics of it, as you can see, there are incidents that basically ended up violating policies. And it talks about these policies, who the culprits are, what they've been doing, and so forth. So you could see here there's a policy for Canada passport numbers, I guess. There is a policy for credit card numbers, US person, and so forth. So what are these policies? So let's look at, for example, the one for credit, okay, US person and the health condition, right? So let's look at this policy. What it is basically if you have a name of a person with a disease of some sort, that would trigger the policy actions for this. And the policy actions are what you define as an administrator, and you basically drag and drop, right? So if this policy is violated, delete that message, notify the user, and if you want to notify the admin, for example, you can say, this particular user did the so and so, right? And it's okay, so save it. So now the policy has been updated with the subsequent actions. And again, the way this impacts users is as follows. So this user here is in the space. This is, who is she? She's Mason Peterson, okay? So Mason decides to flout this policy and starts sharing things that she shouldn't. For example, she would maybe share something about a credit card number. She talks about people who have certain medical conditions that we said she shouldn't be. So this is, Mary Jones has arthritis. She shares a Canadian passport number, for example, right? And what else can we have her do? Oh, this doesn't have to be just text, by the way. I can also have her share things like, PDF files that contain social security numbers, by the way, in this case. Word file, Word documents, you name it, right? PowerPoint, and so forth. And these are all different names, not indicative of anything. And what happens next is that Cloudlock scans these files and will take subsequent actions based on that. And you see there was a scan period here when it started deleting them. And the actions then end up being communicated to the user as to what policies they've violated and so forth. That was part of the actions that you defined as an administrator. You see, like, for example, you violated the passport policy for Canada and US person health conditions, social security numbers, all of that stuff, basically started taking place automatically. And my name shows up because I'm the admin, but that's, any user can be a compliance officer that enables all of this. So with that, I wanted to go back and just talk about what this was. This was basically Cloudlock, Cisco Cloudlock, as one example of a DLP platform. We have many others because this is all done through an API that integrates back into the platform, scans for messages, and takes subsequent action based on that. And you can see this is a very wide ecosystem. The key, though, with Control Hubs, that there is an extension, basically another license, if you will, that is called the Extended Security Pack. And that's an add-on license that allows access into Cloudlock as a CASB platform, Talos anti-malware, the anti-malware that I showed you, and do multi-factor authentication, all included in this Extended Security Pack, basically as an additional license per user per month. And that would allow all of these enhanced features. So this is really an example of a cross-architecture play between collaboration and security. One SKU add-on into the collaboration sale, and that basically allows access to the suite of these security products from Cisco. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed this demo.